Seth Rollins returns and a Danhausen debut. Let's talk about Elimination Chamber. So Elimination Chamber was this past Saturday, the last big stop on the road to Wrestlemania. And no more PLEs now before Mania. I think we're 6 or 7 weeks away. I can't really remember the actual dates, but we're close now to WrestleMania and the card is starting to take shape. So let's talk about Elimination Chamber. It wasn't the best pay-per-view by any means, but it also wasn't the worst. It was very middle of the road, very standard for what we get nowadays. And with it being the last PLE before WrestleMania, it was fairly predictable. It kind of made sense. A lot of the directions that they went, kind of stuff that we kind of knew they were going to do. So let's go match order. So the first match of the night was the Women's Elimination Chamber. It was won by Rhea Ripley. She was my pick anyway. Jade Cargill up in the box. It wasn't the worst chamber match, to be honest. It wasn't the worst women's multi-match either. Usually I find with the women's matches, when there's a rumble or a chamber or war games or something like with a women's multi-match, the spots can kind of not line up well timing wise. But this one seemed okay. Overall, it wasn't anything crazy. Obviously, Raquel Rodriguez double pinning Asuka and Kiana James was a cool touch. Alexa Bliss with the Twisted Bliss off the top of the pod, another big spot. But ultimately, Rhea Ripley gets the win. As to be expected, I think she's going to go and win against Jade Cargill. They're going back and forth all over Twitter there, so I don't like Jade's tactics on Twitter. I feel like they're really like Ronda Rousey, kind of like trying to expose stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I'm not a Jade Cargill person at all. I don't like her. She kind of does me head in, to be honest. I'm not a fan. But yeah, hopefully Rhea gets the win then at WrestleMania, but it makes sense. I wonder what happens now with her and Rio, the tag team. I wonder what happens there now with this. Obviously they lost the belt, so we'll see how that goes. Second match of the night then, Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. Obviously AJ Lee goes over and wins the belt. Hometown crowd, kind of to be expected. Like I said in the last video, this seemed to be the WrestleMania match that they were going to go with. That's what we all thought was going to happen. It seems like the rematch will probably be WrestleMania. Overall, not the worst match, especially with AJ being out of the ring in the singles capacity for such a long time. She put on a good performance. It was a good match overall. So yeah, I expect it to be a rematch at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title again. Then we had the Finn Balor versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship match. Punk's entrance with Sirius for the Alan Parsons Project for the Chicago Bulls team when he was coming out. Phenomenal touch. This had WrestleMania caliber feel to it, this match. This was like a big fight match. Big fight feel on this match. I loved it. Their match in Belfast was my favourite match of the year, and this is top that I think. It felt like Finn could have won at certain points in the match, but we all knew he wasn't going to win. But to have that believability still in the match, and he kind of dominated Punk as well. They had a handshake at the end. It was overall a great match. We knew we were going to get a great match from Punk and Balor. You're always going to get a great match from those two. But the real question is what happens now going forward. So Raw is tonight. So are we going to get Finn backstage with JD and Dom and them telling him how he's not good enough to win a world title? Maybe that's how they plant the seeds going forward, because it seems like there's a civil war brewing in the Judgment Day as it is. So I think maybe we get something backstage segment where Dom makes a comment where Finn's not good enough to win a big singles title. So he says he's going to come after the IC title maybe instead. Maybe that's the way we get to that match at WrestleMania. Or maybe they don't do it at WrestleMania, but I really think they will. I can see as well, they have Rey Reyes coming up for AAA, and Dom's defending his AAA title against Vikingo. So I wonder would he drop the title there and then have the match with Finn at WrestleMania would make sense, because I think Rey Reyes, it takes place at the end of March, middle of March. So he'd be freed up then for WrestleMania to run into WrestleMania. Then we have the Danhausen debut. That's what was inside the crate. The big crate that we all thought was either going to be promotional material or Chris Jericho or Danhausen. Turned out to be Danhausen. I believe he's a Chicago native, so it kind of made sense. He disappeared off the AEW active roster about 24 hours previous, not even. And then he makes his debut in the WWE. Personally, I've never watched a single Danhausen match. I know his little catchphrases, but other than that, I don't know anything about Danhausen, so I'm not going to come on here and shit all over him, tell you that he's not great. But that debut, like, it had a good production quality. You have all the dancers. I believe one of them was his wife, which is pretty cool. He has a cool looking character. I'm sure he's super marketable. They have a t-shirt out already, so it seems like it's a merchandising thing. But he came out to a flat reception. Like, some people were saying there was boos. I didn't hear the boos, but I'm not sure. Like, it was kind of a strange thing to do. Like, is he going to disappear now like Royce Keys? Like, we got Powerhouse Hobbs come over as Royce Keys at the Royal Rumble, then he disappears and does a Stephanie McMahon interview, and then we don't see him again. Is this going to be the same with Danhausen? I personally don't see him in the main event picture anytime soon. But he could be a fun character. It could be a fun thing to add into the roster. So I'm not going to run it down into the ground straight away. I'll give it a chance and see how I feel about him. Like, I don't know anything about him. So I'm going to go in open-minded and not be a typical wrestling fan who wants something the way they want it, and that's it. So I'm also glad it wasn't just promotional material in the crate and it was an actual superstar. So that's pretty fun. And then last but not least, the men's Elimination Chamber match. So there was two big talking points in this match. So we had the Masked Man again attack, and it was another randomer. And then the big reveal, Seth Rollins is the Masked Man, which we knew all along. He's back in the WWE. Great to see him back. It looks like it's going to set up, I'd assume it was supposed to set up him versus Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. Unfortunate injury for Braun Breaker. Then I seen that they were probably going to do him and Bronson Reed. The unfortunate injury with Bronson Reed. Now it's going to be the Visionary versus the Vision against Logan Paul at WrestleMania is what it seems like. He took him out of match, cost him the Elimination Chamber match. The big reveal as well was great to see. It's always great to see Seth Rollins come back. He's just so good in those roles where he comes back, and his facial expressions and the way he plays the camera, I feel like he's just a great character overall. So, and it's always great to have Seth back coming up to WrestleMania. I feel like it always feels big when Seth Rollins is involved. I'm a big Seth Rollins fan. So it'd be great to see him at WrestleMania. I'm sure him and Logan will have a great match, as much as I hate Logan Paul. As we've seen, he's fairly athletic and he does some cool spots in his matches. So I'm sure Seth will be able to take him through that match, no bother. So that'll be fun to see. But it's great to see him back. Like we knew it was going to be him in the mask, but it was still good to see him back. And then the big shock comes with Randy RKO's Cody and takes him out and finishes him off and wins the Elimination Chamber to go to WrestleMania. He's looking for title number 15. I think it's like some stupid amount of WrestleManias he's had and some crazy 900 amount of PLE matches he's had. So look, I'm happy with it. I like Randy Orton. It's good as well. Like, he's after kind of not betraying, but didn't hold back against Cody Rhodes to get to that point. He doesn't care who he takes out. I'd love to see him get kind of a heel run now into WrestleMania. It would be great to see. I also have thoughts on Cody Rhodes. So obviously Cody versus Drew. Drew got involved in the match and attacked Cody with the belt, and Orton capitalised. So Nick Aldis made it official then on the post show, I think it was, where he said that Cody will fight Drew for the world title on SmackDown this Friday. So I assume Drew's going to drop the title to Cody, and it's going to be a title match between him and Randy at WrestleMania. It still could be a multi-man match. I don't know if they're just going to drop Jacob and put Drew in and just have a triple threat. Either way, Cody versus Orton, a long time coming. They have all the history there behind them with the legacy from previous, coming back, saying how much he respects Cody for coming back and all the stuff he's done. And I think when he was champion, he made a comment that he'd be coming for the title too. So finally to see him back in the title picture is great. Having Randy Orton in the main event at WrestleMania feels special. It feels big. He said he wants to wrestle for another 10 years. Whether we get that or not, it remains to be seen. But with the amount of retirements we've seen lately, it's great to still have a stalwart like Randy Orton in the mix. So to have him at the main event of WrestleMania against Cody or Drew, I'm happy either way. But I think it'll be Cody because I think they'll want him in the main event spot. So yeah, my other thoughts on Cody Rhodes is that he might turn heel. Maybe he was the one that attacked Jey Uso. Maybe he's the one that attacked Jacob Fatu previously. and we have a heel Cody Rhodes. We've seen how good he was on the Indies as a heel. He wears a suit like a heel. So, yeah, that would be pretty cool too. But I think right now what they're going to go with is maybe a heel Randy Orton. Maybe Aleister Black's going to push him to the point. He's going to take out Aleister Black, turn heel, and go after Cody if Cody wins the belt. So we'll see how it goes. But overall, the Elimination Chamber wasn't that bad. It was a middle-of-the-road pay-per-view that we knew we were going to get coming into WrestleMania. Fairly predictable because we know they're trying to set up certain matches for WrestleMania. We're analysing this week in, week out. So I was happy with it overall. Let me know your thoughts on Elimination Chamber down below. I'm looking forward to Raw as well tonight. So let me know what you think is going to happen with the Drew McIntyre match. And let me know what your thoughts are for the upcoming card for WrestleMania. Right, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.